Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us on the CHGO Bulls Draft Profile Series. I am Big Dave, and that man over there is the man that's so cool. He's got two nicknames. That is Will the Thrill, the GOAT, Gottlieb. How are you, sir?
I'm great. We're talking about Jalen Williams, one of my favorite prospects in the draft, and a guy that I would be thrilled if the Bulls got at 18.
All right, let's get into them. You see those numbers right there: 18 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, a couple of turnovers, but that's because, he handled the rock a lot. But it's that 6'5", 7'2" wingspan that stands out for me. But those shooting splits also are impressive at the 51, 39, and the 80% from the free throw line. Let's take a look at those strengths and those old weaknesses he has there. Those strengths, that pick and roll offense, the shooting versatility, and the physical tools. Will, that pick and roll offense, that's definitely a strength of his.
This guy is a pick and roll maestro. Watching the tape of him, you see how well he understands the game, the angles, but it's not just that. It's the ability to put the ball where it needs to go on time and on target. We talk about that a lot with young players, and just the ability to really have a mature understanding of the game, really creative passer with both hands, live dribble, and it's just something that you rarely see. I mean, he is a little bit older. He was a junior this past year at Santa Clara. He'll be 21 years old on draft night. But for a guy who understands the game so well, who gets to his spots, who is really crafty and puts defenders in jail on his backside when he gets going downhill. And then on top of that, I think what really impresses me is the scoring versatility, whether it's spot-up shooting, which is great. He was 51% spot-up shooter on threes this year, which is fantastic. Mm-hmm. But even in the pick and roll, I mean, he's got an in-between game, which I think is so important in today's NBA. With the floater and a little mid-range pull-up, he can step back and hit a three. He can create offense off the bounce, and he can also get all the way to the rim. A lot of film work on him, I think, throughout the year kind of predicted that he would be a below-the-rim player because he's patient and he's not super fast. But then at the combine, he measured the fourth highest vertical at 39 inches. So he can really get up there. In transition, he's a little bit of a lob threat, but he is just an all-around offensive genius. And he's one of those guys that you can really run offense through at the next level.
Yeah, and a really high IQ as well. Let's take a look at some of those weaknesses from Jalen here, the fit in the perimeter defense. What do you feel about those right there, Will?
Well, let's start with the perimeter defense because I think that's the bigger one. He does have some good size at 6'5" with that 7'2" and a quarter wingspan, which, by the way, was one of the biggest differences between his height and wingspan. I mean, he's got some incredibly long arms, and that does help him on the defensive side where he can be disruptive, timely with his hands and just trying to knock the ball away from a loose ball handler. So I do think he has potential there, but with the amount of usage that he carried, the burden that he had on the offensive end, he just wasn't a great defender, in my opinion, especially at the point of attack. I think his offensive IQ translates over to the defensive end when he's guarding in space or in help. But at the point of attack, he doesn't move his feet super well. I think he's really explosive jumping and fast in a straight line drive, but not super agile or nimble when you're going left to right, side to side. So I think he can get stuck on screens a little bit. But he can make up for it with his length. And I think just by virtue of not having as much offensive creation, he'll be a little bit better defensively at the next level. As far as the fit goes, I almost think we should remove that from the graphic because for a guy like this who's this talented, you just make space for him because there aren't that many guys who can do what he does with the ball, who can also play off the ball. As I mentioned, the catch and shoot over 50% from three. So he is somebody that you could see especially early on in his career, playing alongside a DeMar DeRozan, a Zach LaVine, where we saw what happened to the Bulls in the playoffs without that kind of three-point shooting. He can really provide that. And then maybe when those guys go to the bench, he can lead that second unit, which is another thing the Bulls have lacked. So I think he's a really special talent. He's rising quickly up draft boards. He was a mid-second round projected pick before the combine. All of a sudden, he's, flirting with the late lottery. So he could be in the range that the Bulls are picking at 18. And like I said, I would be thrilled if they could get him with that 18th pick.
I'll join you right there, Will. He would be awesome here on this team. We've got more of these awesome profiles coming up for you guys, man. Just continue to check us out on this YouTube page here. We'll have them in the playlist for you. And why don't you go ahead and sign up and get yourself some more of this awesome content, that great writing from Will and all the other great writers on the CHGO network, and sign up at PointsBet. Use that code CHGO. Get yourself 2,000 in free bets and just $50 or more first time deposit. You'll get yourself a free t-shirt with all of that, y'all. Sounds like a deal to me. I think you should be in on it. For my man, Will Gottlieb, who you can follow at Won't Gottlieb, I am Big Dave. You can follow me at Ball Sports. This is the CHGO Bulls Draft Profile Series. We'll be back to holler at you. Peace.